I will appeal to all of them to think about the common man on this.
Looking at what is happening in Nigeria today, are we moving forward?
Things is both for the poor and the rich. It's not people that are rich alone.
Something is going on that they are not telling Nigerians.
Something is really going on that Nigerians need to be on the focal point on Pace TV for you to be informed on developments in Nigeria and around the world. Hello, welcome to the program Focal Point on Pace TV. My name is Kenny Diojo, and on Focal Point we look at issues that are directly on the front burner, issues making news in the polity. Today we have with us a guest, somebody who is going to do justice to some of the questions we'll be asking this day. He is Segun Sariki. Segun Sariki is the coordinator of the Jonathan Campaign Organization for Ogun State, and he was a former member of the House of Representatives. He's joining us today on Focal Point to answer some questions that concerns Nigeria, our democracy, and the future of this great country. Segun, you're welcome to Focal Point.
Thank you very much, Kenny.
Yes, I just introduced you as the campaign coordinator for the president, the PDP presidential candidate in Nigeria. If you had to paint a portrait, a picture of your candidate, the man you're selling, how will you describe President Goodluck Jonathan?
Thank you very much. President Goodluck Jonathan is the first graduate to be president of Nigeria. He, up till date, has been the most democratic president we have, as he submitting himself to democratic processes without unduly eating the polity, devoid of arbitrary administration, and he has taken tremendous stride in transformation of hitherto decadent infrastructure of Nigeria, and is patriotic.
Patriotic Nigeria. You talk about something hitting up the polity. Security is one issue that a number of people have, alleged that Mr. President is not proactive about. As the market person of Mr. President in Ogun State, what are your views as it relates to security situation in Nigeria and the efforts of the present administration to actually put all of this under control?
Yeah, I appreciate the anxiety of Nigerians and our well-wishers all over the world about the security problem we have in Nigeria, particularly in certain parts of the north. But then, civilized societies have long stopped embracing government on arbitrary reflex. It is bad enough that some Nigerians are reacting to decades of maladministration of previous governments. It is also worthy of note that the responsibility of addressing the bad situation lies on the head of this present administration. But the process of solving the problem cannot be by military arbitrariness that we have been used in the past. Processes of civilized engagement are always not swift. Take, for instance, the process of litigation. As desirable as rule of law is, takes a while. Even when you know somebody committed a crime, the process of proving the guilt and innocence, whichever way it is, takes a while. And there are even room for appeals and whatever. And that's the essence of civilized environment, and that is the essence of the development of the global community. In the particular instance of Nigeria, it is extremely unfortunate that some particular leaders are extremely unpatriotic. They anticipated and participated in the insurgency to the magnitude that we have. I commend the president for the perseverance and restraint with which he has responded to the fight against the insurgency. More so when you look at the fact that this present administration inherited a destabilized military which had been particularly run prostrate by selfish interests of our previous military leaders who want to perpetrate themselves in office, government in, government out. So
the insurgents now, would you say that, because some people have alleged that most of the people who are agitating now are those who were used as political talks by past administrations, even under the democratic process, who were not settled, let's use the word in quote, settled, that are now fighting against the state. So in this situation, would you say, Mr. President, I know you've talked about respecting international laws as relates to the rule of engagement and incumbents of this nature, but the opposition is happy on this as a major, a thing that Nigerians should consider. What's the way out for your candidate?
The pillar of opposition in the country are the propagator of this comfort zone these insurgents are having. It's quite unfortunate that our military, our democracy has been tainted by retired military people and their civilian apologists who had been commissioners, chairman of parastatals, contractors, and what have you. So their interest is primarily to just come to power. And unfortunately for this country, they had cornered our democracy because they have ambushed resources of state, and you find amongst them the wealthiest Nigerians, and it's taking time for the voice of the masses to manifest given the poverty in the land. Unfortunately, President Jonathan, not being part of the rot, is unknown to the club of unpatriotic leaders Nigeria has been contending with. So to form a clique and frustrate government efforts is like a fight for survival for these so-called leaders. And that is what has manifested in unpatriotic support a lot of people have been giving to the Boko Haram. Their comments has been pro the insurgency, as if government is against Nigerians.
Okay, at that point, let's now go the issue of the election. If not for the shift, by Saturday we'll be going to the polls. Nigeria will be going to the polls to elect a president. But I mean, the shift came, and now 28th of March and 8th of April are the set dates. If the election were to hold on Saturday, as one of those marketing Mr. President, what are the chances of anything?
Well, a priori, I want to correct one thing. I'm not marketing the president.
Okay.
I am working with this president
as
a Nigerian that believe the next election is about backwardness or progress.
Okay.
And in this particular instance, this president stands for progress. The speed might be slow, but we need to participate and assist him so that the speed can increase. And certainly, high speed in the backward direction amounts to negativity. And that's why some of us are supporting him, and we're working hard to ensure that Nigeria doesn't get a change of backwardness. Having said that, I will honestly and sincerely want to give it to the opposition. They have a better propaganda machinery, and they are excellently prepared for distortion of facts, and their desperation to acquire power is legendary. If you hold the election today, President Jonathan will win. As it is now, whenever they hold this election, President Jonathan is going to win. But we will have to give it to this president that this is the first time an enabling environment is being provided by a sitting president for opposition to group and regroup in such a manner that Nigeria's interest is paramount and above self-interest. He has restrained himself from disorganizing them. He has restrained himself from ab initio disturbing them from emerging. And this president has gone further to give them a level playing field so that they can appeal to the ultimate employer of government leaders, who are Nigerian people.
Okay, sir, at this point we'll take a break, and when we come back we'll be talking more on the 2015 general elections in Nigeria. The postponement, somebody said that the postponement is like you're shifting the goalposts. I don't know how true that is, but my guest, when we come back, will be giving us an insight into all of that and the way forward for Nigeria. Don't go away. Welcome back. You're still on the Focal Point. My name is Ken Deojo, and my guest in the studio today is Segun Seriki. I told you earlier that Segun is the campaign coordinator for the Jonathan Campaign Organization, Ogun State
Presidential Campaign Organization, PCO.
Presidential Campaign Organization for the Ogun State chapter. And I told you earlier too that he is a former member, the National Assembly. I'm talking about House of Reps. You're still welcome to our program, Focal Point.
Thanks sincerely, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Now let's go straight to the issue of PVCs. Allegations.
Yes.
Somebody said that I was actually stopped by some non-indigens in Lagos who said, look, we're not allowed to pick our PVCs, because that's one of the reasons given for the shift in the date of this polls. How would you describe the whole exercise of registration, re-registration and distribution and collection of the permanent voter card in Nigeria using 9 million environment, Lagos as Ogun as our own self?
First and foremost, we need to appreciate one thing. The Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria requests from government to grant INEC independence. The Constitution never requested of government to grant INEC right to inefficiency and planlessness. This president had, true to type, given INEC independence, and it is evident. It wasn't this president that introduced PVC. It was INEC in his wisdom that introduced PVC, and we give them the right. It is in their wisdom that they fixed the dates as granted them by the Constitution. But to whom much is given, much should be expected. If they have done all this, and all these years to have planned this, it is unbecoming and extremely embarrassing for INEC to be able to openly and be defending their failures. As we speak, the several Nigerians that I have not been able to collect their PVC. As we speak, majority of people who have high percentage of compliance of PVC collection are in the north. As we speak, it is ridiculous for areas that are in pain of insurgency to be having 80% PVC collection, while area like the Lagos, Ogun, Southwest, South, that are relatively in peace are having 30%. So you see, as much as we are pro-Nigerian, some Nigerians that are parochial and tribalistic in nature cannot be excluded within legal framework of planning our country. Okay. And in this particular instance, I think, with due respect, Professor Jaga and in particular Yakub, giving national assignment and they are implementing it in sectional manner. Okay,
let me chip in this question. You are aware that in recent times the South Nigerian People's Assembly came on air, listing a number of allegations against the leadership of the INEC. One, they said, look, there's a kind of a
rapport between the national leader. You see, and they have not been able to defend. They have not been able to defend it. But even the issue of defending it, it is empirical from facts on the ground that they are tainted. If we were to hold an election next week, and several Nigerians speak, at the point of collection of PVC, certain local governments in Ogun State were wiped off entirely. So they need to re-register. Those ones have not even collected. So if we are going to do election next week, there will be some towns and villages in Southwest Ogun, Lagos, that there will be nothing because they are not eligible.
And that portends danger.
And not only that, if we want to seek mandate of people, we cannot afford to be selective in the kind of people by their color or their language that we want to seek mandate of.
But why is the president is the incumbent?
Yes.
I'm not saying he should use the power of incumbent to sway the whole process to himself. But I mean, they say you can't be inside water and soap enters your eyes. That's a Yoruba proverb that says that.
And that means there is no soap inside that water.
So what is happening? Why?
No, because actually I highly regard this president as per compliance with certain fundamentals. He has granted independence to INEC. You cannot preempt the way a person will go having granted him independence. It is upon inability to constructively utilize that independence that you now put him on notice. If the president has been talking about 3 months ago, people will say within the next 2 months INEC will get their hands together. But when the issues now get to weeks, and we know there's nothing INEC can do within this couple of weeks, it becomes a fundamental issue of burden. And I can understand the position of the opposition. They are desperate to grasp power. They are in unholy alliance with some unscrupulous Nigerians that are in INEC, and they seem to be having a field day. Just like a robber that is caught by the police, they are crying foul, because what they just want to do is a charade that will call election where they will emerge. We are aware in the presidential campaign organization that in every sincere desire to serve the people should be the realization of the rights of the people to say no. And that's why we are submitting ourselves to a free and fair election. And a free and fair election is not about 1 day. A day in the election process is just about 20% significance. 80% of what constitutes free and fair election is about preparation for that election. And you will also understand in the Electoral Act, and that's one key issue a lot of people are not facing, there is a provision for display of voters register, and we're even talking as if that is no provision at all. After all this PVC distribution, they are supposed to set out certain time, maybe a week or two, to display, and that is why they call revised voters register. So you have registered new people, you have not even done the revised version of the last authentic voters register.
So you are saying categorically that the timetable of INEC has failed.
He has not, tremendously, they have disappointed themselves.
Why Mr. President is now considering Dr. Mimiko or Professor Mimiko as, because that's news making the rounds.
Yes, I was in the villa yesterday, and some people raised this issue of Professor Mimiko.
Yes, sir.
You see, freedom comes with a lot of shortcomings. People gossip. In this modern world of high-tech digital communication, true or false, move faster.
Right.
But we give it to them. Everybody has the right to freedom of speech, freedom of communication. Until when an appointment is made, every assertion about it is speculative. And I don't think government should be run on speculation. But be that as it may, Professor Jega is aware of his term of engagement.
Exactly.
Coming to the end of a term does not amount to victimization just as much as the appointment does not amount to undeserved compensation.
Yeah.
So in the same way he was appointed, he naturally will need to leave, and Nigeria will continue to live. I think I would rather like us not to personalize the issues, except assessing personalities based on delivery. All I've talked about, Professor Jega, are basically about delivery. And by law or by rule, if he needs to go, he will go. Another person will come, and certainly Nigeria will not even end with that person that is coming. Okay. So we should not label whoever comes or whoever they want to, and we cannot triple the president of prerogative of initiative.
Hi, sorry I'm late. So, how are we going, by bus or taxi?
None of the above.
What do you mean? Do you expect us to walk from here down to school?
Why would you want me to take a taxi or a bus when I've got this?
Seriously, a bicycle?
Not just any bicycle. The Honor E electric bicycle is the way to go, especially in a busy city with traffic congestion and heavy pollution. Honor E electric bicycle is easy to ride, affordable, maintenance free, and guaranteed your body fitness. There are many easily affordable models to choose from, and anybody can ride. Honor E electric bicycles are marketed in Nigeria by Honor E Ventures Limited, number 1 Oregun Okpebi Link Road, Oregun Ikeja, Lagos, Nigeria. You can visit our website on www.honorevent.com. Honor E electric bicycles, a transport revolution.
Now let's look at the elections itself. The president, as a result of the shift in the date, came and on the pages of newspaper, we heard that Lugi says that the 29th of May handover date for his first term remains sacrosanct.
Yes.
But I didn't hear him say if all things goes well, because people have also been talking about the interim government. Do you see a situation where, because the way things are going in Nigeria, the political environment, the temperature is so high?
Yeah, the temperature is high because we are getting aware. And the government is there that is providing enabling environment for people to ventilate. And I think it's a beauty. I don't know whether you were in Nigeria when Babangida took Buhari. One of the first things he did was to open up the door of NSO. It was as bad as we cannot even use NSO as a name again. They need to change it to SSS. So you see, we cannot go back to those days. For little shortcomings, for little errors, I think we need to contend with the pains of civilized living.
Okay. So are you not telling me that you're confident that this coming elections will be free, fair, credible, and will be accepted by Nigerians without rancor and violence?
It is my hope and wish that Nigeria will accept this coming election based on provable facts and provable indices that are on the ground. But be that as it may, from the character and antecedent of this opposition, I will be surprised if they will support equity, except it's tainted against them.
Okay. Now, Ogun State, PDP is there in Ogun State. There's a barrage of problems. They have followed the Ogun State politics and PDP since 1999. And I don't know, what is the problem? And what is the way forward? And what do we expect to see? Are you delivering 100% this time around?
Well, in Ogun State, I want to limit myself to discussion of the presidential election. And this is the more because I am presently like on sabbatical from PDP, quote and unquote. Because the attraction of this president to Nigerians cut across party inclination. As we speak, in Ogun State, there are about key political parties, except for APC. PDP and SDP, they are supporting this president. And PDP and SDP, they are contesting governorship together, they are contesting senatorial and contesting House of Rep and House of Assembly together and whatever. And in my position, I have the beauty of responsibility which has the burden of relating with a lot of people across party inclinations, including some APC people who are inclined to local candidates but are more Nigerian in thinking that they know the way forward for this country is President Jonathan.
Okay, before we wrap up, I would not end without asking you this question. What would be your advice to all stakeholders and stakeowners as it relates to the coming election?
Well, I don't know what you mean by stakeowners. I would want to think the stakeowners should be Nigerian masses. Yeah. I will advise Nigerian masses not to make as a whole the kind of mistake we made in Ogun State in 2011 when we had a fairly good government and we were eager for a better government, and we chose a government of change that brought us backward. Because there are a lot of room for improvement for this present government. Certainly, going to the ledger age is not part of the options. And Nigerians should appreciate that fact. I would rather have want the stakeholders to engage federal government more after the victory of President Jonathan, so that the direction of the affairs of state will continue to be progressive and transformation will continue, rather than buying undeserved anxiety and falsehood of people who are just propagating based on imagination of how government is run, or people who had been in government for decades, forgetting the fact that the world has changed from when they have since been in government, or some people who are very tainted for during their era in government, but are corruptly in enormous resources that gives them capacity to want to harness and hijack the resources of the state as they have hijacked the resources of their peculiar environment for private use. So the issues is more for the stakeholders, Nigerian people, to persevere and appreciate that this government is taking positive steps to amend what ordinarily should have been amended decades ago. And we'll give them support, and they shouldn't stop criticizing their government, but they should not go beyond that level to change a good driver for an amateur that is better looking or better packaged.
Yes, he has told us that he's forward-looking, no going back. That is a Segun Senke for you. He's been our guest on Focal Point today, and we have looked at a number of issues, that has made the front burner as relates to Nigerian democracy, the elections, and the country as a whole. My name is Kehinde Ojo, and the program you've been watching is Focal Point. Join us next time for another edition of the program. Stay blessed.